First of all, let me thank you, Mr. Bass and the Academy and BSc for arranging this knowledge convention. In the morning session, somebody was talking about where is the trust. He was talking about the stock lending because when somebody told 15% return can be earned, he didn't believe him. As long as there will be people in the system who gives business to the highest bidder, trust will be only rust, the tea will be absent. Trust required, first of all, trust cannot be earned. The question is how to earn trust. It cannot be earned overnight. It requires time, brick by brick you have to build it. You have to demonstrate it. It's like a tree. You have to nurture it. You have to handhold it. Once the tree is in place, the building is in place, then you reap the benefit out of it. In fact, I will tell that trust is the only capital which is required for the advisory business, but it has a break-even time. It cannot be, you cannot expect money in the next day, and that you complain that the investor is lacking trust on you. Remuneration or incentive or money that is coming incidentally to this business, we cannot consider it as an income. I will consider it as an outcome. If I have trust, tons of money will keep coming, but that is an outcome. My first thing is I will treat the investor's money as if my own money. How I would have managed, because knowledge with me. Saraswati, power of Saraswati is with me. I will convert it to Lakshmi. But the way I would have converted it in my own money, I will put it in that manner. How exotic the place where the foreign trip is being offered and how big is the commission, that will not be the consideration of suggesting what is good for the investor will be good for my business, then trust will be developed and the trust cannot be taken away from you. There is a saying that God cannot be everywhere. He created mother, therefore. I will tell Lakshmi cannot be everywhere, so advisors are created. When we talk about mother, the epitome, the personified trust that comes, one can be blindly believe one mother. Similarly, that sort of relationship should come between the advisor and these things. So this is not a business. This is, I will call this is a sadhana, or this is the Hindi version of service is seva. I will call it seva. Money will be incidental and outcome will be, as an outcome, it will keep coming. There will be no this thing, but first work on trust, it will take time, thereafter it will this thing. Then trust moderates the fear and greed factor. If person is afraid of bringing money when Sensex is 8,000, if I agree with him, then I am accentuating, I am increasing his fear. I need to work as a moderator so that his fear and greed both will be moderated. And we're talking about client's delight. So I consider client's delight is what the final result minus his expectations. So if whatever finally he is getting and managing his expectations, if it is more than that, then he gets the delight out of this. Unfortunately, we do not have any trust meter. There is no headgear. If I wear or a badge, I wear or a certification, so automatically my trust will go up. There is no NAV calculation for trust. This person has got more trust and another person has got less trust. No benchmark. It is a one-on-one relationship and one-on-one acceptance. And that trust accepts, and no amount of mass media communication will increase that. It has to be believed, it has to be accepted, and that's why the trust will come. Few things that we normally, when we interact with our advisor throughout, we found there are people who are carrying the pre-signed check leaves of the investors, and that trust factor is that people have shared their online banking password ID with the advisor. You do whatever you want to do. That sort of advisor, of course, they are there. I'm not telling the such advisor not there, but the investor has full faith in them. He knows whatever is good for him, he will do. It's not only that people are earning money through various professions. They have no time, so they will trust you. And once that is established, money will keep coming. The referrals, and he will talk to others. The word of mouth that will bring more business than the one higher commission in one business that we can do. We have to visibly illustrate that what will be my plan, what will be my communication, what will be my commitment, and how we will plan to like this. Setting expectation is also my job. If he has an expectation that money will be doubling in 3 years, then that creating that expectation, managing that expectation, telling him correctly, that is also my job, like a tutor talks to a child, and I will have to do that thing. And transferring the narrow goals, that transactional goals, to life goals, to wider goals, that is also this thing. We believe that this industry, if it is not growing, it's not that there are no, there is dearth of advisors, but we need more good, trusted advisor who will be hallmark. You know, in wealth and health, both can be compared in many ways. Although this, there are doctors, Dr. Advani, for whom people come from far off places and wait for months together to see him. So that trust has gone into reputation and brand. And so when you talk about advisory, we also just not want customers, we want fan following. We want people to be our fan. We want people who will fall in love with us so that they will come many times and talk to their relatives and will come there. This requires very disciplined exercise, not very short-termist look at the business, and automatically it will follow. We just not need certified good advisor, we also need transactors. There are transactions required, but there also trust factor is important. You call it a very high-profile advisor or a person on the street who is just transacting, but everywhere trust is very important, and for the advisor it is most important. Thank you all. We'll address the questions.
Thank you, Mr. Debashish. That was very nice indeed. And you talked about trust cannot be earned overnight, and I think most people would agree to that. This thing that advisor is Lakshmi, this is a very new aspect. And but of course, one has to think whether all of us do view our advisor as Lakshmi, or do we see him as a necessary evil maybe at times. So if probably we see him as Lakshmi or her as Lakshmi, then probably the person has done his job or she has done her job and won our confidence. Expectation and expectation setting and expectation management, and ultimately how we deliver on expectation management is what leads to customer delight, said Mr. Debashish. That's a very good answer to one of the questions that we have as to what constitutes customer delight, and maybe exceeding expectation, for which first step is setting the right expectation. Is a very good way to look at it. Very interesting points. Again, we'll revisit some of this a little later. Finally, we come to the panelist on our left, Mr. Rajesh Krishnamurthy from iFast. Thank you, Rajesh.
It's always tough to follow a note that you've just heard. It's like, when you've already seen Usain Bolt, then what's this little puny creature going to do? Debashish, that was really inspiring. I just want to pick up on a few things that Debashish and Pankaj has shared here. Let me try to be a little technical in usage of terms, because we are all financial planners and wealth advisors, as we would like to call ourselves. What Debashish said in terms of treating clients' money as your own money, and that's what I had to share with you, is that the focus across the world is on fiduciary. And the whole thing about fiduciary is that you perform as if it is you as a client and not you as a service provider to the client. And that is exactly what is, in a very beautiful way, shared by Debashish. So I had an F, a T, and another F to share with you to start the conversation. So since you heard a good one from Debashish, one F is already taken care. So the first thing is that to get trust, you got to be acting in fiduciary capacity. And actually, if you go Google on YouTube for videos on fiduciary, you would be surprised to see the amount of videos that have been launched in developed countries where financial planning has taken a few steps, which focus the whole campaign on why an independent financial advisor, I mean, not the way we call an IFA in India, but an actual independent financial advisor can demonstrate fiduciary responsibilities to his clients. Now I come to T. T is transparency.